in advance. You'll all get an opportunity to respond. Of course, please be as concise as possible.
Right. And then we can all look forward to a brighter future.
Thank you very much indeed. I'll bring in Liz Truss straight away on that.
Rishi, you have raised taxes to the highest level in 70 years. That is not going to drive economic growth. You raised national insurance, even though people like me opposed it in Cabinet at the time, because we could have afforded to fund the NHS through general taxation. The fact is that raising taxes at this moment will choke off economic growth and it will prevent us getting the revenue we need to pay off the debt.
Rishi Sunak, respond to Liz Truss.
I mean, we have to also recognise that we just went through a once-in-a-century pandemic with all the damage that it did to our economy. And I think everyone realises that we were going to have to pay that back. But I'd love to stand here. I'd love to stand here and say, look, I'll cut this tax, that tax and another tax, and it will all be OK. But you know what? It won't. There's a cost to these things, the cost of higher inflation, higher mortgage rates, eroded savings. And you know what? This something-for-nothing economics isn't conservative, it's socialism.
Under your plans, we are predicted to have a recession because you have raised tax, it is cutting back on growth, it is preventing companies from investing, and it's taking money out of people's pockets. That is no way to get the economy going during a recession.
Absolutely do take this seriously, and that's why one of the last things I did as Chancellor was announce some significant support specifically targeted on the most vulnerable in our society, because they're the ones that need our help most. But if I could just come back to Penny on one thing, because I think I heard, Penny, you on the TV this morning saying that you were going to scrap one of my rules, that the government shouldn't borrow for day-to-day spending. Now, look, it's one thing to borrow for long-term investment, but it's a whole other thing to put the day-to-day bills on the country's credit card, and we know how that ends. It's not just wrong, it's dangerous. And you know what? Even Jeremy Corbyn didn't suggest that we should go that far.
Well, too many chancellors have had too many fiscal rules that they have then had to ditch because they haven't been able to meet them. I think you have to accept we are in an unprecedented situation. We are going to have to do more for people to help with the cost of living. Where we really need to concentrate is on growth. And under your tax trajectory, that is going to be much harder.
Okay, but Penny, you're generally proposing that we borrow to fund our day-to-day spending, putting those bills on a credit card. Literally, Jeremy Corbyn didn't think that that was the right approach.
I'm just going to pause there. If he wished to serve, who here would be happy to have Boris Johnson in their cabinet? Please raise your hands. If he wished to serve, would you have Boris Johnson in your cabinet if you were PM? Not a single person. Down on our commitment to net zero by 2050 if you become Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak.
Yes, because this is about our children. I have two young girls, and this is about the inheritance that we leave them and everyone's grandchildren. The same way I care about the burden of borrowing and debt that we leave them, I care about the environment and climate that we leave them. So yes, I do support it.
It was supposed to be a legally binding target. Kemi Badenoch.
The truth is, Julie, we set a target for when none of us will be here to be accountable for it. If there are things in the plan that will bankrupt this country, I will change them. If there are things in the plan that will make life difficult for ordinary people, I will change them. I do believe in climate change, but we have to do it in a way that is sustainable and that will lead other countries. If we damage our economy, they will not follow us, and then we will not solve the problem.
I'm committed to making sure that we deliver the nuclear reactors to keep us green, that we deliver the nuclear reactors that are going to drive an export economy, the carbon capture and storage in Scotland, and change the way we do wind farms, and so that we can actually deliver quicker. Because at the moment, the problem is we're seeing energy price rises hurting everybody, and that's what's making life more difficult for everyone now and will be in the winter.
I'm committed to that, but it mustn't clobber people. Our plan it has to support our levelling up and industrial strategy and our energy resilience.
OK, Liz Truss.
I back the net zero target. We need to deliver it in a way, though, that doesn't harm people and businesses. That's why I would have a moratorium on the green levy, take it out of general taxation, so that we can relieve the pressure and find better ways to deliver net zero.
By lies and dishonesty, what about you as a person will make you a better Prime Minister? Tom Tugendhat, you made a very clear point there. You believe that only a clean start makes sense. Can any of those who serve in Boris Johnson's government, those around here, tell them why they shouldn't be doing it and you should?
Well, it's very difficult because, of course, whatever your responsibility was in that government, whatever your place in that government was, Keir Starmer in 2 years' time is going to hold that record against us. And we need to make sure we're winning Conservative seats across the country. And even really good people lend credibility to the chaos.
Kemi Badenoch.
I'm not ashamed of anything we did in government. We have a lot to be proud of. We got Brexit done, and what the Prime Minister did on Ukraine and on vaccines was fantastic. Serving in government is not easy. It requires taking difficult decisions. Tom has never done that. It's very easy for him to criticise what we've been doing. But we have been out there on the front line, making the case for why,
Kemi, I have been on the front line. I've been on the front line in Afghanistan and Iraq,
not in government.
and I've been on the front line of the argument against Putin and against China. I've changed government policy on this.
But you haven't taken any decisions. It's easy to talk. Talking is easy. Talking is easy.
I have served.